Hello everyone, Books with Banks back again with another video, and I'm back again today to continue making more fantasy books slash survivor content. So for those of you who maybe this is the first video like this of mine that you're watching, basically a few months ago I took a bunch of my favorite booktubers and content creators and I threw them into a Survivor, like the reality game show, a simulation of that game to see who came out the winner. I had a lot of fun doing that, and so now I'm back to start the second season, I guess, if you will, and this time I'm taking 18 of my favorite, and from what I can tell, fan favorite characters from Steven Erikson and Ian Esselmont's Malazan Book of the Fallen different series. So I've been plugging all 18 of these people into a survivor simulation, and we're going to see who comes out on top. Before I get into it, I do have to shout out two booktubers in particular. Jake Bishop, definitely check out his channel if you haven't already. I got a lot of great feedback and comments from him the last time I did one of these survivor things. He actually mentioned plugging Malazan characters into a game like this as well. And then AP at A Critical Dragon, he and I, after discussion we had recently, we got to talking about this and all the possibilities with this survivor simulation kind of video series idea, different characters, different things, or this idea and different ways I can apply that simulation to some of my favorite series. So here we wind up with the Malazan Survivor game. Also, before I get into it, if you haven't already, it would mean a lot if you could please like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Now, before we get into the game itself, how I've divided our 18 Malazan characters onto 3 different tribes, I do want to explain a little bit about the game of Survivor, how it's changed over the years. We are, after all, in the middle of season 45 right now, so a lot has changed, including some rules, some kind of structural changes about the game, things that I maybe didn't apply in the simulation that I did with the booktubers, I'm going to be applying here. So this, I guess how I've structured this game is supposed to reflect much more the more recent seasons. The most recent, like 5 seasons or so, have all had 18 players starting out the game on 3 different tribes. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. Also, one of the biggest structural changes around season 35 of regular Survivor, of the actual show, they changed how the Final Four works, making sure there would be some kind of fire-making challenge right near the end of the game. So I'm going to incorporate that structural change into this game, just to see how that plays out, which 2 of your Malazan characters might have to race each other and see who can make fire the fastest. And I determined all of this, the different characters' placements, which characters found idols, when they used them, if they used those idols correctly. All of this was determined through a random number generator. I also made sure this time of something that I didn't make sure with the last video like this I made sure that there was an even number female-male characters here. And I'm going to divide this video, this Malazan Survivor series, into 3 parts. The first part will be the first 4 rounds of the game, the first 4 people voted out, and then I'll take a break, a couple days between that video and the next one, which will get into maybe a tribe mix-up of some sorts. We'll go through that part of the game, and maybe 1 or 2 votes of once all of the players have merged onto one tribe, and then part 3 of the video, this will be finishing out the rest of the merge phase of the game, the last 6 rounds or so of gameplay. So without any further ado, let's get into part 1. The beginning of round 1, of course, all 18 players hit the beach of where they're going to be playing this Survivor game, and I've divided these 18 contestants into 3 tribes, all based on the continental settings that they primarily start out on, or they have a large amount of page time on in Erikson's Book of the Fallen. For example, Team Genebacus consists of 6 players Corlat, Tattersail, Lady Envy, Croup, Anamander Rake, and Whiskey Jack. Now, sure, some of those characters do travel to other places, but because primarily for the first few books, for the first several hundred pages, we see any of these characters, it's all taking place on the Genabacus continent. Also important to note, most of those characters aren't native to that continent, so that's not really what's determining where these characters come from. It's just where the audience starts out with the characters, if that makes sense. So again, Team Genabacus, Corlat, Tattersail, Lady Envy, Croup, Anamander Rake, and Whiskey Jack. The Seven Cities team, this is Felicin Paran, Tavor Paran, Sergeant Hellion, Bottle, Karsa, and Iskarel Pust. Then Team Lether, we have Shirk Alal, Saren Padak, Janath Anar, Tehel Bedict, Troll Sengar, and Rulad Sengar. Alright, so those are our 3 tribes. Also, the last time I did this, in the pre-merge kind of phase of the game, we only had 2 tribes ever, so one tribe would win the immunity challenge, the other automatically went to tribal council. With 3 tribes, how it works, 2 tribes, whoever comes in first and second place in the immunity challenges, they don't have to vote anyone out. That 3rd tribe still has to go vote someone out though. So, in round 1 of the game, Teams Lether and Genabacus both win immunity, sending Team Seven Cities to the first tribal council. Before they go to tribal council, though, Tavor manages to find herself a hidden immunity idol, and she is not going to play it. She also hasn't, or chooses not to share this with anyone else yet, holding, the secret a little closer to her chest. Also important to note with this round of gameplay, Tavor and Felicin form a somewhat reluctant sisters alliance, sort of like, yeah, we're sisters, so we'll work together, but we don't have a lot of goodwill between us. And then Tavor and Bottle form a slightly stronger Bone Hunters bond and alliance. So these 3 characters know they have to keep Karsa for his strength in the challenges, but none of them at this point really trust him. Karsa doesn't believe in alliances. They remind him too much of modern civilizations, and he wants everyone to just work and vote whichever way suits them best individually. So Tavor, Felicin, and Bottle are basically the powerful trio here, and they're deciding between voting out Iskarel Pust or Sergeant Hellion, and ultimately they decide they'd rather keep Pust in the game because he rubs people the wrong way, and he might always be in their pocket, and he might always be in their pocket if they save him in this first vote, whereas Hellion is a little bit more sociable, and she might easily flip-flop when they get to a tribe swap or the merge phase. So, round 1, Karsa voted for Iskarel Pust, Sergeant Hellion voted for Iskarel Pust, both for just personal reasons. They're both annoyed with him, but Hellion was voted out with 4 votes from Tavor, Felicin, Bottle, and Pust. 4 votes. Hellion is the first voted out of the game, coming in 18th place. Next up, round 2. This time, Team Seven Cities and Genabacus win immunity, sending Team Lether to Tribal Council. Shirk, Janath, and Tehel make a solid 3-person alliance, similar to how closely these 3 can work at times in the books Midnight Tides and Reaper's Gale. Tehel finds himself a hidden immunity idol. Troll and Saren, these 2 bond quickly, starting a bit of a showmance. And Saren is trying to convince Troll not to stick too close to his brother Rulad, because Saren can see the writing on the wall. Rulad is a sinking ship, and far too young and too arrogant to rely on in a game like this. Saren speaks with Shirk, Janath, and Tehel, and they decide to vote out Rulad. Saren tells Troll that they're going to vote his brother out. Troll understands, but he can't bring himself to vote along with everyone against his brother, so he kind of casts just a throwaway vote for Tehel. Rulad, meanwhile, while they're all kind of scheming behind his back, Rulad manages to find a mysterious advantage, promising a second chance in the game should he need it. And unfortunately, even though Roulade voted for Tehol as well, and Troll voted for Tehol, the rest of the 4 votes are all for Roulade. Roulade is voted out second in 17th place. But he is sent to Redemption Island. Let's say this is Jakaruku or something. Let's say, Roulade is sent to Jakaruku, and he'll have a chance to get back in the game later on. Round 3. Team 7 Cities and Lether win immunity, sending Team Genabacus to Tribal Council. These alliances initially break down as one might expect, the Genabacus ones do. You have Whiskey Jack and Tattersail on one side, and then you have Rake, Envy, and Corlett on the other. Croup is kind of in the middle. No one really knows where he stands. Croup doesn't want the Teist and Ancients alliance to dominate, so he gets to work scheming. He notices the potential for a flame between Whiskey Jack and Corlett, so Croup stokes this fire and gets them to be a solid duo, making himself their third. So Croup's kind of made this smaller alliance of 3 with himself, Whiskey Jack, and Corlett, breaking up that initial Malazan versus kind of Ancient Powers alliances. Croup's broken all that up by making sure Whiskey Jack and Corlett get together, and sort of the perks of being matchmaker, he gets to be their trusted third ally. Rake and Envy are still targeting Tattersail. They think Corlett is 100% with them, and they ask Croup to vote with them as well. Little do they know, Corlett and Croup go to Whiskey Jack and ask if he's cool with this move against Tattersail. Whiskey Jack says sure, but he tells Tattersail to vote for Rake. Still, Tattersail is voted out, 3rd and 16th place, five votes against Tattersail, only Tattersail's vote against Rake. Next up, round 4. Team 7 Cities and Lether win immunity again, sending Team Genabacus back to Tribal Council for their second time in a row. Whiskey Jack finds a hidden immunity idol, and he shares this information with Corlett and Croup, locking in this trio as the real powerhouse. Now the vote is between Amanda Rake and Lady Envy. They worry about how dangerous Rake will be if they let him get too far, and even though Rake votes for Croup, Rake is voted out 4th and 15th place. Yeah. And that should do it for part 1 of this Malazan Survivor series. I'll be back in the next few days with the next part, which should see us going through several more rounds of gameplay. But yeah, unfortunately for fans of characters like Sergeant Hellion and Amanda Rake and Roulade, even though he did leave with an advantage and he was sent to Redemption Island, and Tattersail, unfortunately those 4 have all gone. But yes, tune in a few days to see what happens to the rest of the castaways. Maybe these tribes are going to swap around, maybe mash up. Maybe we'll go from 3 tribes to 2, but you'll just have to wait and see. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please comment down below who you think will win based on the storytelling I've been doing so far. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.